In this video, I'm going to share with you the secrets to creating videos that have high engagement. And I'm going to give you some very tactical things that you can put into your scripts. You can even copy and paste parts of this transcript into your script. Let's go. Well, I think to tell you how to make an engaging piece of content, I'll first tell you how to make it not engaging. And that would be by rambling with no point that people are listening. They're like, what? Land the plane. Number two, starting videos with something like, hey guys, just popping in real quick. Your hook is your number one attention real estate, that if you are popping in or you waste any time talking about what day of the week it is, like what are you, a calendar, you're wasting time and they're never gonna watch your content, subscribe, or follow through with your call to action. It's also super not engaging when you're talking at someone instead of talking to someone, like really feeling like you're having a conversation with the people on the other side of the lens. Like when I'm filming right now, right there, I'm imagining that I'm talking to a person, not this piece of plastic or inanimate object or flashing light. I think that's what makes people become intimidated when they're filming. They're like, oh my gosh, as soon as the camera's on me, I turn into like a news anchor with this like buttoned up tie and what am I saying? They turn into a news anchor and they get all anxious instead of realizing that you're actually talking to a human on the other side. The other thing that makes them anxious is this imposter syndrome of, am I doing this right? Am I saying the right things? Which I get every time I start a video. I'm like, what's the right thing to say? How do I say it in the right order? Being conscious of that, I think, is also going to help you to remember that you are talking to a human as a human. Got that out of the way, let's talk about what makes a video engaging. The first tip to make your content more engaging is kind of backing onto what I was just saying. Talk to one person. You have that person in your mind, you can see them, whether it's a client, whether it's a friend, whether it's your mom, someone that you feel comfortable with, or someone that you know needs this information that you're talking about. And the reason why it's also really important to use this rule of one person is because sometimes people will look at their view count or how many likes they got and they'll think, oh my gosh, I only got 50 likes on this video. Could you imagine having 50 people in your living room? That's a lot of people. My mind already goes to like the catering and the logistics of that. I don't even want to think about it. If you think of that, just you're speaking to one person, I think it really humanizes you and helps you to become more generous in how you come across on camera. The next thing for creating engaging content is I want you to keep in mind these two things: question marks and assumptions. If people can look at the title of your video or listen to the first few lines of what you have to say in that video, if they can assume what it's about, then they have no reason to keep watching or to click on that video or for you to hold their attention in general. However, if there's question marks in their mind that they're like, tell me more, how did you do that? How can I get that result? What is happening here? That means that they're gonna keep watching longer. These question marks, these open loops, have to keep showing up in your videos or in your content really like every 10 seconds. Because if you don't have good content that keeps holding them throughout, they'll click away after 30 seconds and it doesn't matter if you had something really awesome at 5 minutes into your video, they're already gone. I like to use this as an example. If you look at these two thumbnails for these YouTube videos, they're both basically saying the same thing, but packaged in a different way. They're both about a money mindset, but if we look at this on the left side, money mindset you should have, how to master your relationship with money. Ask yourself, what are the first thoughts that popped into your head about what you think this video could be about? Then if we look at the one on the right, I pretended every night until I made $1 million. What are the first thoughts that come up for you? I think to be a good content creator, you have to be a good content consumer, meaning you're observing how you react to content so that you can consider that when you are creating content. So I'll say for me, when I look at money mindset you should have, how to master your relationship with money, I assume that he's gonna talk about you should budget, you should stick within your means, you should maybe have some money affirmations that's going to help you to have a more positive relationship with money. Well, if that's what I assume this video is gonna be about, and I've already closed the loops in my mind, I've jumped to conclusions about what he's gonna say, why would I waste time in watching it? Our attention investment is a very important investment of our time. Let's look at this one on the right. I pretended every night until I made $1 million. Big ol' makes you go, I see that and I think, okay, I pretended every night. What did you pretend? You did this every night? What is this thing that you did every night? Every night until I made $1 million. You made $1 million doing this thing? Can I do it? Will this video teach me how to do this? If I do this thing every night, will I make $1 million? A ton of question marks on this one. And as you can see, it obviously has 90,000 views compared to this one with 112 views. And the last and the biggest tip about creating engaging content is actually give them something to engage with. If you're just talking at them and you're telling them facts and principles and blah, 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 that's not actually going to give them an emotion or express their opinion as it relates to your content. If you look on social media right now, content that's going viral is something that elicits an emotion, and people don't take action until they feel something. So when they feel something, whether that's humor or whether it's rage, whether it's anger or it's joy, that's when people will actually take action. And that action can be that they comment, that they share, that they're willing to go make a change in their life as a result of something that you've shared with them. So we actually consider this when we are creating content that we want to be pushed out by more than just us. Like if I share a piece of content and I think it's awesome, cool, I feel good about myself. But if someone else sees it and they share it as a result, typically when someone is sharing content, it is because that piece of content reflected something about themselves that maybe they didn't have words to. Or if they share that content, they're in a way taking credit for that content, even if they didn't make it. So if I send you a video that makes you laugh, even though I didn't make the video, I made you laugh. If I send you an article that was really thoughtful and you learned a lot about a topic that you liked, even though I didn't write that article, I might not know anything about that topic at all, it was thoughtful of me, and I helped you to increase your skill just by sharing it. There's also studies that provocative content that actually infuriates or expresses anger or negativity is shared more than the positive stuff. So that's why it's also important to be polarizing. Not that we want to upset people, but it is important to give people a place where they can express their opinion, whether that's good or bad. And so when people say, I don't want to get haters online, it's actually not a bad thing to create those opinions online, because for every hater or negative comment you'll get, you can also get a ton more positive that believe in the things that you say that you believe in. If you can become a good storyteller, really you can keep anyone's attention on any topic. And I want to share with you a framework that I created. And this is one that is probably my most popular because it's easy to remember. So I will say, do not let this go. And that was definitely a pun intended, because this is an acronym, ELSA, which stands for Epiphany, Lesson, Story, Application. So anytime I'm creating an engaging piece of content, the first thing that I want to do is focus on E, the epiphany. What is the epiphany in the story? So I'm reverse engineering, how do I want my audience to feel? What action do I want them to take? By the end of this content, how have they transformed? What did they believe before? And what do they believe now? So I think about, like, if I was watching a movie, who was I when I first started that movie, and what maybe lessons or stories, how has it changed me? And so consider that in how you create your content. How can this piece of content change someone else too? Well, then the next step is, what is the lesson that you're sharing with them? How are you changing their life by whether you're giving them a strategy or a framework or some kind of a process that we break that down into maybe step 1, step 2, step 3, or here's a point, here's a strategy. But if we just give them step 1, step 2, step 3, it can kind of come across like the Charlie Brown teacher, like wah, 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 boring. So we have to include that, wrap that up into a story. When we put our kids to bed, or when we were put to bed as a kid, we didn't get bedtime facts, we had bedtime stories, because stories, again, going back to my earlier point, is what makes people feel something, and people take action when they feel something. And then the A in ELSA is for application, meaning what's the next step? How can they now apply this into their life? So is that a call to action to watch another video? Is it click the link below to get my checklist on how to implement that? Is it get on a call so that I can help you implement this right now, or come into my store, or read this book? What's really cool is people implement this in their social media content. Here's a real estate agent that she implemented the ELSA framework, and she, just from this one, says she got 3 new buyer leads. And even since then, she was like, I think it's up to like 10 just from this one post. It works if you work it. We talked about hooks at the beginning of your content, but you can also drop micro hooks throughout your content. So you can use them as openers or transitions, or even just mid content that keeps pulling attention back in, because you don't get paid by the amount of content you create. You get paid by the amount that you get your audience to engage. The more that they are engaging with you, the more they're going to know you. When they know you, they like you, they trust you. When they engage with you, often you have them like nodding their head or agreeing with you, whether that's mentally or verbally. Maybe they're at an event and they have their hands up and they're engaging with you on the stage. And the more that we can have them nodding their head, the more likely they are to say yes when you have an offer or a pitch or something that you're offering for them to take the next step with you. So some micro hooks that you can drop anywhere is where you can say, pause, I'm gonna say that again. And because you've like created this pattern interrupt and showed them how important this is, it really gets people to perk up. Another micro hook I like to use is saying, hey, most of you are gonna ignore this. When you say that, it perks their ears again because they don't want to be one of the people that ignore it when it's something that's going to give them a result in their life. Some other micro hooks you can use, like, before I get into that, let me tell you about this. Or, hey, and that's not even the best part, which makes them go, well, what is? Another cool engagement strategy I've seen is where they tease what's to come in the video, saying, hey, I've got 5 points for you. The 4th one is the most important, and if you don't use that one properly, the first 3 won't even work. Well, what does that do? It makes you need to listen to 1, 2, and 3, and definitely listen to and implement number 4, which means you had to keep watching longer to get all that information. Now that you have engaging content, the next thing you're gonna need is engaging funnels that convert. So I'm gonna put a link down below where every day with you for 5 days, we're gonna help you build funnels that convert. Go to the Build Your Perfect Funnel Challenge. We'll see you there.